Joe, here's the thing, right? When the pandemic hit, I was home doing a whole lot of nothing, as a lot of us was. And
I
was like,
walked the neighborhood.
I bet you did got to hang with the locals, But I just got this thing that we got all my friends and our roadie stories and all the crap that we lived through. We got to tell these stories, man.
Yeah. I'm still doing it. I work on LED screens.
Nice, man. Are you still based out of Cleveland?
No, I live in Dallas.
Oh, nice, bro.
Hot. It was kind of cool today. Got about 95.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Cool, crisp Dallas day. Crisp 95.
Yeah.
Joe, how long you been out of Cleveland?
Oh, shit. Probably about 20 years when you add it all up.
Yeah.
Before I came to Dallas, I lived in Florida.
Where at in Florida?
Outside of Orlando, Sanford.
Nice.
On the east side, yeah.
Yeah, I was working on for National Mobile Television at the time. I did a middle career. I come out of sound, went into mobile television. Now I do LED screens.
Wow.
Beautiful. Well, you're not going to break your back hanging the LED wall.
No, but I climb and swing, and I work mobile. My shit's usually on a truck, small, medium, or large.
Yeah, so you're talking about the shit where you come up in the truck and the whole screen like telescopes out.
Yeah, and you put top half on bottom half, fold it, and all that crap with that.
Yeah, beautiful. I've seen those operations before. They're pretty slick.
But the company I work for is out of New York, purchased New York, ANC, and a lot of major venues in the World Trade. A lot of video. The Cavaliers Arena is all ANC.
Yeah,
the one
purchased New
the
York
one in
is
Cleveland.
A pocket of money.
Yeah, the one in Cleveland, Gund Arena.
Yeah, I was just there a couple months ago.
All the video inside, the center hung, the tunnel walking in the front door. The whole is that division of the company.
Joe, do you remember Jim Burley from Cleveland?
Yeah, Burley Man. How's he doing?
Well, I'll tell you what was the trip is that I spent almost 2 weeks working at that arena in Cleveland this past February. And it comes to my attention that one of the stagehands, like the only good stagehand that I'm working with, is Jim Burley's kid.
The only one out of how many? 20 stagehands?
Big Bob Frost should have been there.
He had a heart attack like the week before I got there.
Big Bob.
So I was devastated that that Bob wasn't there, and also devastated that the stagehands in Cleveland were just really, really terrible. It
Well,
was
shit,
just,
they all of them were all the people we worked with.
Yeah, and their parents.
As the old timers out of the union got old,
yeah,
they suck them up on the streets, and I was always somewhere else.
Yep. Yeah, Bill, welcome to the program. Glad to have you. But the stagehands in Cleveland, man, this past time around was really, really rough. It was really like a couple of them like we're doing the meth scratch and needed to take a hit right away and really fading on us. And when you ask the question, who's a stagehand here? Well, I'm a painter, or I'm this, and they were busting him in from like Toledo.
There ain't enough Cleveland stagehands. That was a strong union town.
It was, man. And for a show like what I was there for, which was the NBA All-Star game, You would think. I mean, they could not fill the call. They needed 120 plus stagehands, and they couldn't get them.
Oh, jeez.
You know, we were light, really light on that. Susie, welcome to the room. Glad to have you. Yeah, but the stagehands in Cleveland, it was rough going. It wasn't the roughest thing I've seen since the pandemic, since we came back to work. You know,
Oh,
and at Dallas, you're in Dallas, and the last couple times I was there, are Fort Worth,
yeah, the new arena.
the
I
new
seen
arena.
that.
Yeah, that new arena in Fort Worth.
Dickies.
That's right. That's what it's called.
You know, when you say I'm here, well, shit, I fucking got a gig over there.
Yeah, and that new arena in Dallas was rough too. You know, once again, it looks like they stopped by and unloaded the meth clinic on the way into the gig, and got any warm bodies that didn't completely smell like urine, and brought him in and said, "You're going to be what they call a stagehand for the day. You know, can you speak of the English and follow instructions?" I mean, when you show up at a gig and the stagehands are wearing Crocs, you know,
Not good.
it's not good. Not good for everybody's safety and minimal standards.
Yeah, at least tennis shoes.
At least, Joe, there's a great story that I have that you are the centerpiece of from Cleveland, Ohio. And
I didn't do it.
I'm going to jolt your memory to see if you remember this, right? We had that floating stage in Cleveland.
Oh, on the barge, yeah.
The barge, the floating stage. And I was a stagehand there with Larry Dolan, and we were going to rehang a scrim, a drop on the back of the stage, right? And you were there with Eighth Day Sound, dropping off, picking up something, right? And you parked the truck close to where the stage was, as you should, right? And we got on that barge to do whatever, and whatever scrim they hung was not a blow through. And
it was a sail.
It was a sail, and it pulled us away from the dock. Do you remember that?
I remember hanging one scrim, with a couple of the union guys there, the old union guys, and, like, hold my wallet because we're going swimming, because it was just blowing us like over the water.
Yeah. And it was somebody had a very bad idea to get their knife out and cut one of the corners of it.
Ah!
You remember that?
No, but
it turned into a whip. No one could approach it. We're going out to sea. The ramp is in the drink, boom, in the lake.
Yeah.
I remember Larry almost losing the tow motor in there. He got in between the wood and it like broke the wood and the tow.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Came close to getting.
I think I'm gonna make a taco.
Hey, Susie.
Hey, Susie.
We're talking about Cleveland concert stories.
Yeah, I think so.
Right on.
They used to put a roof that would lift up and come down up every year on motors.
Yeah.
And the one year they had decided that they were just going to fix a tarp to the top of that thing. And they pay these union stagehands to get this big tarp up there. And then it starts raining, and the thing filled with hundreds of gallons of water. And the one side broke, and a couple 100 gallons of water all came down at once, and took a drum kit that was sitting there and just threw it all over the stage. And they canceled all the bands for that day, needless to say. But what a bad idea that was. That was somebody's brilliant idea that was going to save somebody some money,
Mr. Jones, welcome to the conversation.
Hold on.
It's my privilege to be here.
Well, it's our privilege to have you. Our privilege to have you.
Yes.
There we go. Hey, Gabe.
Hey, what's happening, brother? Welcome to the chat room.
Alex.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Wonderful.
Alex, we were just having a conversation about telling a story about the old floating stage in Cleveland, Ohio.
The beautiful 9th Street Pier stage.
Yeah, it was a good idea and a bad idea all at the same time.
Yeah.
It was a rough load in, horrible loadout.
Roll out the gangplank. Let's load in.
Let's not go swimming.
Let's
Oh.
not go
Oh
swimming.
no, not there.
One time I got a couple of little minnows out of the lake while I was down there and took them home and put them in my aquarium at home, and it killed all my fish. The disease from the other fish, it killed off my entire fish tank.
Oh, can't do
Oh,
that.
yeah, the mercury poisoning got you.
Some diseased Lake Erie fish brought the mofungo home to you. Huh?
Yeah, they sure did. Wiped out the tank.
Well, you know, that was probably the highlight of your pay for that day too, as well, you know. Yeah. Definitely paid in bong hits and bad food.
Chopped up garden hoses and ketchup.
Yeah, over and over again. I mean, it's surprised
Rubber
that we
hoses.
were with the rubber hoses, that we were functioning at all off that horrible catering from the lowest bidder. You know, it
The
was
Geppettos.
always bad. It's always Geppettos.
Oh,
Brother iPad number 5, man. What's your name?
I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or not. My name is Keith.
Keith, you sound great.
Keith, we hear
Oh,
you.
there we go. Okay.
yeah, Keith, we can
Sounds
hear you.
great.
Keith, where's home for you, man?
Jackson, Michigan, Prison City, up here in the mitten.
Nice, man. Way up there in the Wild Kingdom.
It's too cold.
It's not too bad right now. We need some rain. I'm sure you guys are everywhere. Everybody needs some rain.
Yeah.
We always wanted to rain in New York City just to rinse it down. Rinse it all down.
It
We
does,
need rain.
it does need a rinse, man.
I actually went to New York City for the first time, and I didn't get enough time there, and I'd love to get back.
Take your time.
You know, I like New York personally. I go, I see, I enjoy, I leave.
That's the best way to enjoy it.
That is the best way to enjoy it, you know. Is to hit and run in and out.
You know, the marathon's
park.
coming up.
It's an amusement park, as Pete said. You have to pay to get in.
It is that, man. I mean, I was there 18 years, and that was enough for me.
Working for C Factor.
Oh, these two guys in the corner, they're still with C Factor.
Are you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bob
Good
C
job.
is still dead, and the company lives on. The
Yeah.
original production company, man.
If you see a gray-haired LD anywhere, they've worked at C Factor. You can just walk up to them and say, "Hey, do you know Bob C?" They're like, "Yeah, I used to work for him."
Keith, I don't know if you know about this company C Factor, but they were the company that did the original Woodstock in the 60s. They did the Fillmore East. Bob C was the guy that invented concert lighting touring.
Yeah. Okay.
Plain and simple. He fucking invented. He's the guy that invented truss, aluminum truss. He's the guy that he was the first guy to use an electric motor to hoist a show up. I mean,
Upside
feeder,
down.
you know, using feeder, electrical distribution. He invented fucking everything that we do in our business. And the guy from Thomas Truss used to work for Bob C. At the time, wanted Bob to sell it. He goes, who wants to do that? You loser, you're fired. that was his way. Alex, am I telling the truth?
The only reason I keep this place open so you losers have a job.
Yeah, Bob, he was really warm and fuzzy. There's a great story of Steven Tyler calling Bob when they put the band back together. And he calls Bob up. He goes, Bob, listen, we put the band back together. We want to get the rig back out and get your company involved. And Bob said, I don't work for druggies, and hung up on him, you know, which is hysterical because we used to have just giant piles of cocaine to prep shows with. So for Bob to call somebody else a druggie. It's pretty funny, man.
He
Jones,
was one
do you-
hell of a character, man.
He was a hell of a character.
I
Do you
love the
guys
guy.
do you guys still have all of that old rock and roll memorabilia that we had at the old sound shop?
Oh, there's
Not
a whole
lot of it.
room.
It's
There's a whole
probably
room
in a
full of
storage
t-shirts and coats.
somewhere. It may be one of his other buildings. A lot of that didn't come over to the new building.
Yeah, Keith, it was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, the legit Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the shit that they had in that shop. You know, back to if you ever seen any light show from the 60s where all that like hippy dippy backdrop was, that was the Joshua Light Show. We had that laying in the corner of the sound shop. The original turntable from the Woodstock stage was there.
The broken one.
Everything we had was broken. You know,
Must work for my company.
Yeah. Well, we said at C Factor, when a piece of equipment no longer works, that means that it's going to do 3 more shows. That was the standard, man.
If you ever
Can you hear me
saw,
still? Can you see me?
not yet. Yeah, hey,
But
listen,
boom, Joe King.
yeah.
Joe King.
All right. Good to see you, man.
What's going on,
I
man?
found I says, wait a minute, I got an outboarded camera. I just had to go find it.
Joe, did you have your Class A back in the day?
When
Class
we
A
went from
CDL.
chauffeurs,
You never drove
to
the semi, did you?
when we went from chauffeurs to Class A, real truck
Yeah.
driving license, I sort of grandfathered in and cheated. Some people lied. Oh yeah, he drives it.
Used to drive the big Volvos, the 28-foot Volvo trucks, right? The cab
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, the straight ones.
Yeah, those were awesome trucks, man.
Except they were crap and maintenance wise. The motors.
Hard all the time.
Yeah, the motors. And let's put a small motor in a big box.
Yeah. I mean, I drove the semis for 8th day, which was a mixed blessing. I mean, the only positives I worked, but I didn't get paid another penny for driving the truck.
Hell, Derek Gable died in an 8th day truck a couple years ago.
Yeah.
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 I spoke to Arco a 3 weeks back or so. He called me out of the blue.
No way.
Yeah, and touching base with, I guess I'm like second generation 8th day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, just touching base, which was, I quit the companies and bosses still call,
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, he turned that nothing into one of the biggest sound companies in the world.
Yes, he
And
did.
they have a phenomenal reputation.
Yes.
And I wouldn't work for them again, but they're a great
Yes.
company. They offer a great product.
Oh yeah. And then
You gotta
tagging
give
up with
Arco a
Claire.
businessman. He's one hell of a businessman.
I asked him about that deal. He said, yeah, it took about 48 hours to put, him and Roy sat down and hashed it out in 48 hours.
Well, it's the story of all these guys that we've known in our lifetimes that
Yeah.
started these epic companies.
Yeah.
They get to a certain age, then what do you do with it? It's it's not like selling it off like a Dairy Queen.
Everybody knows what this is by now, especially when you invested in it. It's a small thing, man.
Well,
A lot of
Arco,
money in it.
8th Day was, started out as a college band and not a good one at that.
Yeah.
And, and was just small and, the American success story all the way.
All the way. Those early breaks that they had with Sinatra and the Twisted Sister tours and
Cool
and
in the Gang is
Cool in the
what brought you
Gang,
today.
Iron Maiden.
Fan.
Yeah. You know, all those great tours that kept the company rolling, and they kept delivering. They had a good product, you know.
And one of his largest clients, I hate to say the name, Al Heyman.
Oh, geez.
Productions. Look at don't fake,
Oh.
man. I'm sorry I had to say it.
I'd rather put a
I
stick in
sat
both
out on
eyes.
the street and waited for the cash.
The check.
Not the check, the cash.
The cash.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't take a check for that fast.
And at lunchtime, and then you'd high sign the truck and it'd drive away. And then there was a pile of cash.
Keith, these Al Heyman tours, Keith and Susie, these tours were so fucking horrible. They were so fucking horrible. You're talking about like bags of KFC for lunch if you got it. If you got it. Completely understaffed, not enough labor ever, lied to from the beginning to the fucking end. Every goddamn thing was a lie. You know, there's going to be one act. There's 5. You know, it's going to be at 8 o'clock. We're starting at 10. You know, I mean, every fucking thing. And he had a production manager whose name was Skip, and I called him Skip the Details. Right? And I had to get $10,000 from him cash in Concord, California, and had to land the PA as a threat in the middle of the day.
That's the only way to get through to those people, man.
It's the only way to get through.
We got to a point, we didn't bring the truck on the property.
Where's the truck? It's down it'll be
Down
here.
the road. Give us the money first.
And have to do it again the next day.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a reason that you pay for the pizza at the front door, right?
Yeah.
The guy delivers the pizza, you pay for it at the front door, because after you go inside, you sit down, you fucking eat it, your belly's full. I don't feel like paying anymore, you know? And that is absolutely the event is that BC level event business. That's all about that. These motherfuckers not wanting to live up their obligations, their agreements, and pay the money as they're supposed to, you know.
Because I don't do it for fun. I do it to make a buck.
Yeah.
Oh, I say all the time, I'm not here for the outcome. I'm here for the income.
I don't leave the door unless
Yeah.
there's money involved.
Yeah, I don't order the pizza. I deliver the pizza. This isn't my fucked up plan, my fucked up idea, you know? Cog in the machine, man. Right?
Yeah.
So
That's
what are
it,
you
man.
doing, Rob?
I live here in New York City. And I have off and on for the last 10 years. And I own a house in Charlotte, North Carolina that I bought in 1998. And about 10 years ago, I moved up here and started working. And
Entertainment?
I work constantly. I work at C Factor in the audio department with Alex Jones. And I'm an RF technician. So I watch out for all of their, in-ears, monitors, and handheld mics, which we have dozens of channels of each, and just do shows constantly. From April 15th to May 15th, I worked 30 days in a row and had some large income weeks in there. So I just live here in the city, and I'm involved in something audio oriented almost 7 days a week. I work at C Factor, and I work for a band that is a private event band. That's a 10-piece band that fetches $9 grand every time they play, and they have 2 different sound systems that I've built and helped hire the people that go out with that stuff. I used to do that a lot as a part-time income, but now things are so busy, like at C Factor. It's a very busy place with lots of L-acoustic, speakers, the entire line of everything from the tiniest L-acoustic speakers to the very largest, not the K1s, but K2s, and just busy doing audio things, but RF things, all the young guys want to be the console operators, and
Fuck that.
To be involved in comms and RF stuff. I mean, I get to leave, and these guys, I leave early, and it's just not a bad way. It's fun too to get some RF stuff working. And I did a show at Penn State what was it, about 6 weeks ago, there was 44 channels of wireless microphones.
Holy
The
shit.
show was only an hour long. We rehearsed it for 3 days straight. And
Whole lot of
you know,
batteries.
what's that?
Whole lot of batteries.
Use the new
Lots and
Shure
lots of-
rechargeables.
Actually,
Really good.
that was a rack that was prepared by Sound Associates, which has a lot of professional wireless stuff. And I actually, in that rig that these people had rented for that show, I had all Shure rechargeable batteries, which was awesome because the regular batteries only last about 3.5 hours. The Shure rechargeables last about 7 hours. I mean, it is a significant. You know, in doing private events, you usually have to change regular batteries in the middle of the day, where the rechargeables, you can make it through a really long, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. event without having to change batteries. So, but yeah, that's what I do. And during COVID, I left here and went back to North Carolina for 1.5 years and did nothing for 1.5 years, but really just smoked pot, picked berries.
You cut your
mowed my
grass.
lawn, listen to my Bose tower speakers and really, just did some reassessment and realignment,
Yeah.
But it's good to be back in the city here because I've never turned down as much work in my life as I have the last several weeks. People call me nonstop for all kinds of different things because the labor market here is all the way tapped out for these big companies. It's almost to the point of limiting how much they can take on. Things
You're
have
right, man.
changed.
Back
Everybody wants to do shows at once right now.
Oh yeah, there's weeks where there ain't enough of us.
Not right now. Certainly not here. And we've been, training some younger guys in their early to mid 20s that can learn and want to take on some of this work. I personally know of an opening at another company here in Astoria, Queens, that's looking for a full-time shop person, manager, and shop helper. I mean, there's 2 open positions. I was thinking about calling Jim Burley and see if the Burley's kids are ready to make the move up here and do some of this stuff. Because boy, I mean, the sky's the limit here. If you want to show up on time and work and learn, New York City, you can go really far in a short amount of time because there's a lot of weird parameters here of just, putting up with living here and the bums and the feces and, it's really bad. I mean,
well,
it
I
really
used to
is.
say that Brooklyn used to smell like piss, and now Brooklyn smells like weed,
Oh.
Uncle
Hey,
Todd,
Pete.
welcome to the gig. Yo, go.
We have to correct Rob on one thing. The city is Manhattan. You live in Queens, man.
Yep.
Right. It's nice out here. It's pretty nice out here in Rego Park.
Out there in Queens, way deep on the R train. Yeah.
Whoa.
So I ride the New York City subway every day. I see a lot of nonsense and, don't feel that unsafe or anything. I'm not,
Well, because you're too high. That's why. If you weren't so baked up and you had some sense of your surroundings, you'd realize the peril and danger that you're in. Because the city has gone fucking downhill, brother.
I was walking in Manhattan the other day, and this girl opens the door of her $1 million brownstone, and there's a bum sleeping on her step. She is having to step over this bum that's passed out, or drug addict, or whatever this guy had going on. And then another guy right behind her stepping over this person just to get out of there. These places are so expensive, and Midtown Manhattan's a weird place right now. It really is.
Joe King, I go into a CVS in Manhattan, and all I want to do is buy a Gatorade. I just pop in there, grab a Gatorade. I'm standing in line to pay for it. Chick in front of me, she's having a dispute with the cashier. She just pulls her pants down, turns around, and takes a big piss all over the candy bars and all the gum. I'm like, is there another register open?
Yeah, like I said, I like New York. I go, I see, I leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great though. If you like speakers and microphones, man, it's not a bad place to be.
They're heavy.
It's not a bad place to be, man. There's a lot of stuff going on every day.
They're heavy.
Yeah. The
It's
speakers
heavy.
and microphones are heavy, but the other thing too is you never do anything without labor. There's always labor.
I've been here good 15 years in Dallas doing video screens.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Those are getting lighter.
Put white on there and you can strike.
Yep.
So I had done this LG event a couple weeks ago that they had these windows, and I mean, they were clear like windows, but they were also 4G monitors. They were so 4K monitors. They were super crisp. So these people would be behind them and they would just look like windows. Then they would start different advertisements playing in these different window panels. It was very impressive.
Freaky.
Never seen it. I couldn't even understand how the thing was really working, where it was transparent all the way to the middle, yet it was acting as a 4K screen. It was very cool. It looked expensive, whatever it was. It was an LG.
Our company's in Purchase, New York, the headquarters. We got merged. We're a Learfield company. And, the World Trade Center is their video. And a couple bank buildings and, whatever they do in New York. We do a lot of venues, and the Live Nation sheds are all our screens. Anyway.
Post the pandemic, there's plenty of work for everybody,
Oh, fuck. I ended up coming out of the pandemic. I got furloughed for about 90 days. Got called back. We did a 90 days of Walmart drive-ins. We'd set a screen up. They'd set up the parking lot, drive in, play grade B movies.
I love that.
Move to the next Walmart. 2
Wash,
days.
rinse,
I
and
like
repeat.
that.
There. 90
Oh.
days in Wally Mart parking lots.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. You don't have to pay
Yeah.
attention to the whole show. Once the train leaves the station, it goes. What goes wrong during a show like that?
Nothing. For the most part, everything was computer. Had 2 computers and a switcher.
Beautiful.
I did
So
some
it
of those
just runs and rolls.
in the Hamptons.
Excuse me. My brother's having fun in Pine Knob.
Nice.
Hey, what's up?
Pine Knob, that's Pennsylvania. We were there, right, Pete?
No, that's
Pine Knob
Detroit.
is Detroit. Yeah.
Oh,
Detroit. Yeah.
Dead and Company's playing up there.
Oh, that's not my fault.
Oh, fuck. They're tearing it a new asshole.
Can you believe that they're still making money off that?
And they're fucking playing like you would not believe.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
I went up to St. Louis and seen them. I rode the motorcycle up in 100-degree weather.
They're only a couple tours away from being a hologram show.
Yeah.
But they're headed New York ways.
Who's still alive? Phil Lesh?
Phil's not playing with Dead and Company. He's doing his own thing.
Oh, of course.
There's Bobby, Mickey, and Bill. The keyboard players from Rat Dog, Bob's band. O'Teal from the Allman Brothers. John Mayer's anchoring the guitar spot.
This is all new information. I knew none of this.
They're playing one of the big Saratoga is where it's going to be, right?
No, they're headed to the city, I think.
They're playing
I
at Stadium.
Look, city, the place where the Mets play.
Yeah.
Oh, City Field.
City Field.
Yeah, I do
Field.
believe. I'm not well versed on what's going on towards the end of the tour because I'm not going to make it. I know they stop in Philly and playing out at their stadium and head to New York. They're
Stadiums where they make the money, man.
As a
Stadiums where
band,
they make the money.
tearing it. Like the Grateful Dead or not, forget all about that. But they're just, they're not playing the state fair circuit.
No.
Not
No.
doing that Kenny Rogers circuit, huh?
No, they're just ripping it a new asshole nightly.
Yeah, because those kind of shows, they sell merch all day, they sell concessions all day,
Sell mushrooms all day.
they do
would not know
mushrooms all
anything
day.
about such things.
They really clean up, the cost difference between arena and stadium isn't that far apart, but the income, it's night and day, man.
Oh, money wise, they're cleaning up, but they're delivering the product.
Yeah, that's great. I am all for anybody that's picking up a musical instrument, getting on stage and actually playing it while people watch, which is a bizarre thing that I even have to say it.
And it's not the same old shit every day. A new set list.
No, Joe. I mean, I do shows and tours where there is absolutely no human being playing musical instruments standing on stage.
A lot of people on stage with instruments.
They're holding instruments. They have them. They're sitting in front of them with them, but that's not what the audience is hearing.
They look like musicians.
They look like
everything going on. But
I
just clicks.
That silly old hippie shit.
I love it. I love it for that, man. For that. And what's funny is I used to hate that hippie shit. Goddamn hippie shit. Fucking one song in the last 3 hours. But now I've got a great respect for it all.
Where's John Condy?
He's a dead in company tonight.
But John Mayer's addition to the family there lit a fire under those boys' asses.
Oh, musically, I'm sure it did, man.
But it's fun, and my brother's up in Pine Knob right now with my sister having fun.
A buddy of mine is on tour with 9 Inch Nails, and they were in France a couple of days ago doing the Hellfest. And he says he's there walking through the crowd with the other PA tech, and someone comes up to him, taps him on his shoulder, and it's another friend of ours that works for the same company that brought his family to Hellfest in France from Jersey. I mean, you're dedicated to the heavy metal cause when you're packing up the family and going to France for Hellfest. Yeah,
I go hang out with hippies.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I live in Woodstock, New York, so I've had enough hippie up to here. We're the only town with designated drum circle time from 4 to 6 p.m. because it was such a problem.
Right. It's okay. You're going to play the bongos. You got to do it between the hours.
Oh, yeah. Your bongos, your 2 sticks together, your 2 rocks, whatever you got, The hippies. Keith, do you see a lot of hippie action where you live?
We kind of do, we kind of don't. So, it's funny he said Pine Knob because, Pine Knob is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year.
Oh, no shit.
So it's a big deal up there for all the folks in the metro area. And we live probably about an hour, 45 minutes away from there.
Fuck, I'd have been there. I'd have been at the show. I'd have crawled there.
Yeah, well, I kind of don't do the hippie kind of stuff. I mean, I have, and it's funny that you asked me that question because it's been 4 or 5 years since Fish has played the Detroit market, and we were at that last show.
The dirty little Fish kids.
And I was never really a Grateful Dead person in high school. I went to high school in the 80s when they were on top and really big and huge. It just wasn't really my thing. But I went to my first Fish concert, and then I went to that I can't remember the name of it, but the festival in Oswego, New York, and I was just sold. Remember what the name of that one was?
I have so much respect for those guys. We used to do them at the Garden every New Year's Eve. Fish would come in and it would do some
3-4 shows.
Oh yeah, and it would be some big spectacular gag, whatever the gag of it was different every time,
Yeah, they cover a different album every year, New Year's Eve.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. But
neither did I,
But hanging with their sound guys and getting into their approach to how they do their tones and stuff, man. I mean, I got all the respect in the world for those guys. They are great, great fucking players. And one year I was doing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction the year Genesis came in, and Fish came to do Watchers of the Sky, which is a fucking classic Genesis, and they fucking nailed it, man. There's, so as much as I feel this and that about hippies, I think Fish is a great, great band.
Yeah, they had over in the Grand Rapids area, they had a big, huge festival called the Electric Forest. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of that. It's the first time it's been back since 2020, and then they had the String Cheese Incident played 2 sets over there, so they got their hippie fill last weekend also.
Nice. Nice. There's a bunch of hippie jam stuff that happens up. I live up in the Catskills, and there's a bunch of hippie festival shit that happens around here.
Regularly, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, I avoid it all. Well, as that's what I do for a living. I don't want to go to a show when I'm not forced at gunpoint.
Yeah, I go to the show. I have no desire to be like backstage. When I go to a show, I have to find the front door, which is difficult.
Yeah, where is the front door? How do you get in?
I follow people. But
yeah,
this young lady Susie, where do you know her from?
The internet.
Okay.
I've got a Facebook page, and I don't know anyone that's on it. I'm just posting shit and talking about rock stories and this, that, and
yeah, I've seen that, some of that.
And it's just an organic thing that's just doing whatever it does. Susie, she's a follower.
Yeah, and that's the same with me.
Yeah,
same with me. I've watched quite a few of your videos and the things that you do, and I think it's great. And it people like me that have always had that curiosity or interest in that side of business.
Yeah, sweet.
If they're paying attention to you, don't do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a good educated, get a real job.
It's about it. Yeah, but here I've got the real job, the career, and all that, the family, and all the greatness that goes with that. But what am I going to do when my career winds down here in a few years? I'm going to need something to do.
You could be a stagehand.
I'm getting to be too old. I've been there and done that a little bit, but I'm getting too old for that shit.
No, you're not. You don't have to do much. Just stand there, put that over there.
There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, four guys to a case.
The only thing you need to ever say is this: "What's next?"
That's it, man.
Next. That's it. It's the only good words you need to remember.
What your friend was, interested in our business. There's times where we haven't slept for days.
Oh yeah, I mean, when we did that,
and just really out of our tree.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking on Sunday night. We did this same kind of thing, and when I did Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 25th anniversary, I was on the clock for 56 hours consecutive. Where I just felt my skeleton. Like my feet were just done. Just flattened out, and that was at the Garden. Was I was changing my shoes every 4 to 6 hours. To try to bring some. Have a chance,
Run out to the local store, buy some socks.
Oh fuck yeah. That's the other thing about our business is that you do 20 years working 9 to 5, that's one thing, but doing 20 years working 18 hours a day, it takes a toll on you. And in my union, theatrical stage employees, local 1, the average union guy that retires dies in 2 years. Has a 2-year fucking lifespan after retiring.
That's why nobody retires.
When I retires,
40 weeks.
40 weeks till you retire.
40 weeks. Fuck it all.
And then what?
It'll be a stage
I'm
hand.
just gonna enjoy hanging out with the wife and traveling and parking an RV, maybe a trailer.
You gonna stay in America?
Yeah.
It's a valid question.
Yeah, it's a valid question.
Fucking question.
Yeah, and just go and stop and look at the biggest ball of yarn.
I hear it's pretty impressive.
Hang out, drink coffee early in the morning and listen to birds chirp.
Yeah, nice. Nice. I fucking dig that.
I did my longest hours.
I've been doing this shit for 40 years by that time. I've had my fill.
Yeah, and Jones, you're my age. I'm 59, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're still working more than I want to.
Yeah, I did 38 hours.
Consecutive.
Did Stranger Things at Netflix, went right into a movie, tore down half of it at Netflix studio in Brooklyn. Then we just went to the Met and loaded in the middle of the night to do
Met Gala?
that British thing. This was in the Opera House.
It was another
Okay.
movie premiere.
What the hell was that, Rob? I don't even remember.
I don't remember the name of the movie, but they
Oh, it
didn't
was
let
the
these
British-
guys go home. They had to go
British
right
show.
from one show to the other one.
It's
Hey,
the
Keith,
British
Now they're
show.
trying to get their checks straightened out.
Downington Abbey.
And to tell Keith and Susie and Joe, if you don't know, the Met is the biggest stage in the world. The Met has 6 60 by 40 set carts. That's a big fucking set cart, and they could shuffle 6 of them around on that fucking stage. The stage is massive, but the house is so little. It's like this is where the audience is, and this is how fucking big the stage is.
Sort of
Stage
like
fucking
Radio
massive. Like
City.
Radio City's 103 feet across.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have 2 operas in there at once, all
Yeah.
staged on the carts.
Yeah, plus the up and plus the down and
The elevators.
and the Met, they used up until like literally the last year, they used to build all the fucking sets on site. It was like there's nothing that you can't like imagine that they can't go downstairs and fabricate. Wood, metal, paint, whatever. They fucking build it right on site.
We do a lot of Netflix movie premieres. C Factor does the sound and the lighting for these events, and they usually, rent a room or a venue somewhere to have these things. Well, now Netflix has these big new sound stages that they build in Bushwick, and man, these rooms are
Incredible.
big.
I heard that. I've heard.
It's amazing what they built over there.
It is so big. It was like the size of a basketball gymnasium, and there's 6 of them, and the ceiling's like 80 feet in the air, and the ceiling and the walls are all sprayed with this is like cotton stuff that sticks to the wall, so it's super dead inside.
Beautiful.
And the first 8 feet all the way around has these fabric padding that goes all the way around this giant room. And you can drop a shackle on one end of this room and not hear it on the other end.
Oh,
It was
weird.
unusually quiet while we were setting up. And then these guys did the movie premiere where they carpeted the whole thing in there. And Alex said it was super dead, and they loved the outcome of this one that we did in their space. And they're going to be doing some more of those. It was a big one. These trusses were probably, 140 feet long or something. It had
139 feet of there.
pretty crazy.
Oh, and for Susie and Keith, for you guys couldn't believe how much they throw away
Oh,
at the end of a gig. I just did a gig last month in Midtown, right? They had to source 5 miles of wood trim to trim these flats that they put on 6 floors of a fucking department store. So we have a party for these executives, a fucking $10 million party. you know, and plus all the carpet, plus all the everything that and when the fucking show is over, man, it all goes in the dumpster. They don't bring trucks for it. They bring garbage trucks for it, and it just dumps the fuck in. And you know, whenever you hear people talk about, oh, well, the price of the labor is the problem. All these fucking sound guys, these stagehands, everyone's so expensive. No. That's not what expensive. These stupid decisions from people that just carpet bomb money, you know, especially these TV networks.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
Oh, yeah.
It grows on trees somewhere.
Yeah, girls on trees.
Yeah, well, that's why I moved to New York. I knew that I would never get a bigger piece of the pie. I only knew I could be part of a bigger pie. You know, and that was it, man. And they fucking waste money.
Yeah. Yeah, everything Pete's talked about on his site is absolutely true, and a lot of it is even worse. But when I came to New York, Pete said, "You're not going to believe what goes on here." And I remember the first show crash and how nobody cared except the people at 20th Century Fox, of course.
Yeah.
The crew was like, "I guess we're going to load up." It was
now that was
Fantastic Four movie premiere on Liberty Island, 2005, and the projector lamp blew out. Because it was a real projector. It was on the back of a truck, and it was like the real
projector, 70 millimeter.
Yeah, and to get the vibe of what Jones is talking about here, you know, you're talking about boating out a bunch of motherfuckers at the Liberty Island, lighting up the Statue of Liberty as the backdrop, getting everybody in their fucking seats, all these executives.
Federal property. Everybody's got to have a background check. You got to search everything.
Oh yeah, I've been on Ellis Island and had to bring the dogs through the truck.
And for them to have that one fucking light bulb to shut down the whole goddamn show, it's just really sweet.
They had a race, but they went to Tribeca Theater and watched it over
there. And I wasn't there, but I know what happened. I know that the man that they work for, Mark Friedman, must have ran over to you like he had just won the lottery. Oh, thank God it wasn't us.
Oh God, it wasn't my fault. He was giggling. It crashed and it's not my fault.
Well, you know, that's where when the video screen, somebody didn't plug the cable in and it goes out.
Joe, we did a gig for a billionaire in his parents' 50th wedding anniversary on the 4th of July in 1999, and we had a master electrician on the site who was 100% unqualified for the position, and we lost the generator during the show, and 5,000 millionaires were all in the darkness. Whitney Houston thinks someone's trying to assassinate her and flees the scene, you know, with a trail of cocaine dust following her. And the best part was the governor of New York at that time, I think it was Pataki,
yeah.
Right? Telling my boss, you know, if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be in this business. It's like she was shrinking like Fred Flintstone being degraded. And true story, I was so irritated by the whole thing. And then we went to do the fireworks. You know how you got to sync the audio with the fireworks with the symphony? Well, something was fucked up and something was off, and it wasn't my fault, and it was way the fuck off, and the music was like way behind it, bouncing and sinking all over the whole gig was a disaster. And I said, you know what, I've had enough of this show. I think we all have. And I just picked up a bottle of water and I dumped it into the console. You know, and there was some sparks, there was some frizzle, there was all kinds of ugly noises, and the goddamn thing was over. You know, it was like, let's just put dirt on this thing. My God.
So anyway, we got this thing on Tuesday.
Yeah, so on Tuesday.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes, yeah.
You don't even talk about it anymore. It's over. That happened. Let's move on.
When I first started working at C Factor, Pete told me, if you bring back most of the gear and none of it's caught on fire, you're going to be fine. And it's worked out pretty good.
Yeah, Mark Friedman sent me to a gig one time. He goes, "Yeah, this is this place, and there's this guy, and he's singing, and there's someone's gonna be with him, and the place was the UN. The guy was Luciano Pavarotti, and he was playing along with the New York Philharmonic for the General Assembly, And I got to put the mixing console between like Cuba and China. It was in the seas. That's how long the snake was. I mean,
Well, that's like him saying you can only be there a couple hours. It'll be quick. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's been doing shows in New York City for 40, 50 fucking years. So he's 100% jaded. 100% jaded.
C Factor was the first North American company that had L-acoustic speakers. Nobody even knew what they were yet. And this guy that we work for to this day who believed in them early on. And there's thousands of L-acoustic cabinets in use in North America.
Have the 16.
We had the most high-tech gear with the most
1, 6, 7, 8, all in the corner.
high-tech gear with low-tech people trying to do stupid things again and again. Lost the Bob Dylan tour because of it.
He's an ass.
Bob?
Yeah.
I was on tour with him and I didn't have to deal with him whatsoever. So
And he was happy.
Well, we were out with the VDOS. It was the first time they could hear what Bob was saying, so it was a big deal.
Took the dog shit out of his mouth.
It was Bob Dylan and Van Morrison, and I was the monitor guy for Van Morrison. And now Van Morrison was definitely a nutcase.
Oh,
That's what I did a tour with 8 Day Van Morrison, and he was great to listen to, but strange bird.
He had like a poster. I mean, I'm like a poster side thing that he'd have on the drum riser with every song that he'd ever fucking done, like 150 fucking songs, right? And he would just stare at it for a minute and then mumble something to the guitar player. The guitar player, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they'd go. So it was this mystery of what's going to happen next. But he was great every night.
Yeah.
And the band delivered, and him and Bob Dylan together. I mean, we did a week at the Garden. We did a couple nights, Fleet Center, Boston. It was a good show for those that are in that kind of music.
Oh yeah, he is some kind of character.
He used to have some pretty odd characters worked at C Factor. Pete, you told me about a guy that the union had gotten so mad at him that they went outside and slashed all the tires on the truck. Was that Harry?
Yeah, that happened at the Hammerstein. The Teamsters came through and they slashed all the tires in the trucks. And a guy walked behind him with a big envelope full of cash. Goes, "Here, guys, he's for the tires." So one guy's slashing them, one guy's paying for it. It was pretty interesting. I mean, Keith, when I moved to New York City, it was still a really rough and tumble, really old school, rough and tumble. It was back when a handful of cash would get things done for you, or else
the Garden was something else.
The Garden was the Garden
until the Republican convention was there. It was the Wild West.
Yeah,
After the Republican convention, the whole place got cleaned. Remember, if you piss somebody off, because you have the two unions, if you piss somebody off, your gear might make it down to 5 stories.
Well,
in one piece.
The Garden one day, on a TV truck, and they come back and return all the headsets, from the camera guys. So you're going to want to check these out in the morning because they don't work. They pulled all the connectors because ESPN was pissing on the union. And
well, I was a union stagehand at Madison Square Garden for 5 years, so I could say that you got to be nice.
Well,
don't be an asshole.
They were pissed at us. We didn't
Yep.
piss them off.
You mean you got to be nice to the stagehands, not
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, don't
there's
come in,
two
don't come
unions.
don't come rolling in like don't be an asshole. And the thing is about New York City, and this is 100% true, right? When you go to Des Moines, you go to here, and you go to there, even you go to Dallas or wherever, and you got some stagehands there, most likely you know better than them, right? Because you're the guy that the tour hired to bring you to. But when you go to New York, now you're surrounded by 20, 30 people that most likely have more experience than you. So it's a reversal position, and I've had I've had guys come in there with attitude. I've been on the road now for 2 years. Two years.
Oh, geez.
I mean,
I got sperm older than that.
look around at the people you're working with, you're talking to. I mean, that I tell everybody, I tell all the young guys, just to treat everyone the same, be respectful, don't be a fucking dick. Being a dick is exhausting, first off, and I know because I've been a huge dick on multiple occasions, making no friends at all, trying to get the show up, having to be an asshole. It's exhausting.
Pete, it was this time last year where there were some awful rainstorms here in New York City and all over the Eastern Seaboard.
Yep.
And you were at a show, was it in Central Park?
Well, here we are at Central Park, and the show has been canceled. Lightning. Yes, I was.
And the now defunct New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio.
That's right.
He really wanted that thing to go on, even though there was a monsoon coming, right?
We got,
And what did you say to that ass?
I don't know why they canceled this.
When the time came,
I went up to the mayor. I said, "You're a fucking disgrace, motherfucker. I mean, how the fuck is it this site is not safe, that we had to send 50,000 people home, but now you're keeping us here, all the stagehands, the men and women in New York City, the working people. We got to stay here while we're watching this literal hurricane come in here on the site. The roof's got to come down, the skin's got to come down. All our lives are in danger because you got 2 more hits scheduled on CNN. You said you're a fucking scumbag." And I turned around and I'm surrounded by cops. They had the white shirts on, and they're all grinning, giving me the fucking wink. But that said, man, that loadout was unfucking believable.
Because the weather got awful.
One of the guys I work with was in the first class of Navy SEALs in Vietnam. He was a frogman, then became a SEAL, right? And Kenny, nicest guy. You would never know he was lurking in the jungle, slitting throats, 50 years ago. But he said to me that he had not seen rain like that since Nam. I mean, it was fucking incredible. And the mayor made us stay there for two more hours as it got worse, because he had 2 more appearances scheduled on CNN. And they were trying to get what's his face? Paul Simon and Garfunkel, Paul Simon. Thank you. Pice up, because he lives right there at Central Park West. Like, you see his apartment from the stage,
I was there at Central Park for the half marathon back springtime.
Oh, recent.
Yeah, we do the New York Marathon. I'm there a lot. I was in New York, in Brooklyn, for the most part, I believe, I think. Tribeca Film Festival.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just wrapped up.
Driving a semi, into a city park.
They're very touchy about that.
Oh yeah, you drive a semi into these places where you'd be hard pressed to put a box truck.
They're very, very touchy about that.
Don't get on the grass. Well, sling some plywood.
You had a very short-lived career as a semi-truck driver, didn't you, Pete? You drove a truck for a couple months, right? Hard times in Cleveland. You got your Class A, right?
Yeah.
Finally getting to the point of making some money.
That's
And
what
it's
I
just
thought.
not as easy as that.
Yeah, I thought I hit the big time. I could afford a double wide at that pace. You know,
But
it was
within
ugly.
6 to 8 weeks time, how many tractors of other people's did you tear up?
Oh, like actually destroyed the truck.
Or the transmission,
Oh yeah, multiple
a lot of
times.
ground coffees.
You know what, Joe? You'll appreciate this. I was trying to hook up to a trailer on the lakefront, and it was a full blown blizzard. You know, and I'm not getting enough traction to get to hook up to the trailer. You know, because I'm backing up to it, and the wheels are spinning, and backing up, and the wheels spinning. And finally, I get a really good running start, lock onto the trailer. Then I couldn't get out, and long story short, I literally dropped that transmission right in that parking lot. The hood just exploded up, parts went flying everywhere. I was pretty dedicated to getting out of there. But you know, truck wrecks, they happen, you know. Truck accidents happen, especially in New York City. New York City, when I moved there, one of my caveats is that I am not driving the truck no more. There will be no more truck driving. And unfortunately, I had to drive the truck a couple times. One of the times,
C-Factor trucks, right?
it's C-Factor truck.
Yeah.
I was trying to get onto the 59th Street Bridge, and there was a sign that said no buses, no trucks, no limos. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, there isn't an overhead that I can think of. Oh, no trucks, no buses. I can make it. I'm in a 24-foot C-Factor truck, right? And then when I'm in it, do you remember Mark Hall joking?
Yeah,
The great Mark Hall.
Raul.
Raul's with me and my buddy Scott Ryder, and I'm trying to get on the 59th Street Bridge. And at the final moment, I realized what the problem is. The problem is it's a concrete U-turn that's so tight that a bus, a truck, or a limo could not make it. You know, and I got fucking stuck. I got 100% wedged between all that concrete, and all the guys were laughing. Oh, you have to get a crane in here. So we ain't getting no fucking crane, motherfucker. We got out. Now I left the toolbox on the side of the truck because I completely tore it off. I tore off both sides of the truck, opened the truck on both sides, but I got the truck out.
Pete, trucks are not allowed on the upper level of the 59th Street Bridge.
There's a reason.
I bought a GPS just for New York City.
Oh yeah, I mean, I had
Just
my
for
time.
New York City. I don't use it anywhere else.
Well, you know, Rob is experienced driving a truck in New York. And what happened to you?
Oh, well, when I worked at AV for a short stint there back in 2008, Pete said, don't let them know you have a Class B. So, okay, I made the mistake of letting them know I had a truck license. They said, we want you to just run this thing down over here. Well, before you know it, I'm driving a truck pretty consistently into Manhattan. And it was frightening all the time. And I had a cab drive up on the right side of me, trying to get over, and just drove the cab as we're stopping at a red light up onto the studs of the truck. So then the cab driver hits the gas, and kind of the thing stuck on the wheel of the truck. He hits the gas, and it peels this cab open from right behind the driver's door all the way to the rear tail light, just opens the thing up, and it sounded like it had torn the front bumper off of the truck. So I get out and look at the truck, and the bumper's fine, and his car is a disaster. The light turned green. I got back in the truck and literally just drove away.
What are you gonna do?
And I'm going to pick up gear in Central Park. So I drive up in there, and I'm waiting. And my guy doesn't have the gear ready yet. So I'm waiting, and here comes two New York City SUV cops. I'm thinking, oh, this is my lucky day, right? So these cops drive all the way up to right where I am, and I'm sweating bullets, you know, hit and run or whatever. And, you know, two stagehands come out, each with a case of pop, and hand these guys a couple cases of sodas through the windows of the SUVs, and then they drive off. And then 2 minutes later, I'm standing there smoking one hitters with Jordan Palmer, laughing like nothing had happened. And then I go back to the shop and I tell these guys what I had just been through. And they're like, oh man, that is so not cool. That is a hit and run, you know? And I mean, call it whatever you will, you know? And when I worked at Wireless First at Claire in New York City, 2 different occasions, I was driving a straight truck and smacked mirrors. Once with a beer truck, and that's always exciting when you smack mirrors, especially the first time. The second
And especially
time,
on your side,
huh?
especially on the driver's side.
Yeah, the driver. I did a driver's side one. It was a beer truck, and I also had done another one that was I smacked mirrors with a bus, a city bus, and then I was done. I wouldn't do it anymore.
I had a bus driver reach out and collapse my fucking mirror in once.
Oh, it was in his way.
Yeah, I had to
But, you know,
stop in the middle of 2nd Avenue, get out and push that mirror out because I'm completely blind. Yeah.
Yeah, these C-Factor drivers that leave out every morning to go deliver stuff and pick up and return sub rentals and stuff, it's pretty hardcore when you set out in a truck in New York City at 9 and 9:30 in the morning. And these guys are used to doing it every day. And I drive as little as possible here. I have a very nice car that I leave put up most of the time because it's crazy driving here. People are, you know, it's not too bad, but I just don't like driving here.
Drive a semi down through Manhattan.
You know, Keith and Susie, I'll tell you this, you know, about the drivers. When I worked at this company, C-Factor, you know, we needed 3 trucks for a loadout. What they would do is they would send one driver to drive the truck to the gig, take a subway back to Queens, and take another truck and park it, take a subway back to Queens, and then bring another truck and park it. Right? It does the worst way you could possibly execute a fucking loadout. And we were doing this thing in Times Square. And, you know, when you're doing gig Times Square, the cops are really antsy on getting the street back open up, you know. And we had that's one driver with 3 trucks, and he was such a moron. He forgot where he parked the trucks, number one. So then I got to send the stagehands up and down Broadway, looking down the side streets to see if they can see a truck. Right? Then we finally find the first truck, and he doesn't know where the keys are. He forgot where the keys are for each truck. And then it turns out that he locked the keys. He opened the truck door, slid the keys in, it pulled the truck door down to put the lock on. He literally locked the keys inside of every fucking truck. You know, the Army the U.S. Army is the only organization that's been testing IQ since the 1800s. And if you have an IQ lower than 86, there's nothing you could do in the military. You can't be trusted to pull a pin and throw a grenade if you have an 86 fucking IQ. And some of those drivers that we had, they're definitely low 80s. Low fucking 80s. We had a driver named Scooby Bro who stole a truck and sold it for a vial of crack over in Jersey. You know?
Scooby Bro.
Yeah, Scooby Bro.
Susie's Texas. Good grief. This was everyday shit.
Everyday shit. And Keith, you ever make a tape ball out of gaff tape? You know? We've had some big tape balls in the shop. At one time, we had one that was about a soccer ball, and you know, really, really heavy. You could feel it, right? Scooby Bro comes in, picks it up, barely tosses the air, and try to headbutt it like a soccer ball, and his neck just went. I dropped to the fucking ground, man. You know, maybe high 70s IQ. I think I'm cheating him with the low 80s guess. And Joe, that tape ball in question got so big, we had to hang it from a 1-ton motor. And then we put Christmas lights on it, and then we taped over it. And the next year we put Christmas lights on it again, and then we taped over that. And the owner of the company, Bob C., was so irritated because that tape ball was so goddamn big. And it blocked his camera that he used to use to watch in the sound shop, right? So he sends 2 guys into the sound shop with a fucking ladder. And you know what they do?
They fall.
They moved the camera. Don't take this ridiculous tape all down. They moved the fucking camera. Yeah, I called it working in the world's only indoor trailer park. And to go from Eighth Day Sound, corporate city to that
Corporate
place.
City, yeah.
It's the Wild West, man.
I had left Eighth Day as the corporate city was happening,
Yeah.
Because when I was there, the second generation, we were all by the seat of our pants, trying to figure out how to be managers, how to,
Yo,
Yeah.
you remember me working there with Burley? You remember me when I was really young? I was one of Misa's friends and hanging out with Burley.
He was once young. That is true.
yeah,
Ponytail
John Meese,
sticking out of his
For
cap.
about a year.
John Meese is head sound guy at Gund Arena.
We hung out.
Alex had just seen him a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, Rob still has the blue paint under his nails. From the turbo sound, Keith.
Yeah, the blue PA.
The
And Joe, I owned a turbo sound rig at one point, and I sold them and I painted them black, and I painted them black on the hottest August day. And I swear to Christ, I touched those cabinets 8 months later, and I still had black on me. That paint never fucking dried. One of my biggest failure projects. Total failure.
Did it have my name somewhere inside on the speakers?
No, I bought them from Crystal Taylor Systems
From
the other side of the continent.
Because those TMS 3s, had my blood all over them.
Yeah.
Keith and Susie, these PA speakers we're talking about were made out of 1 inch thick Finland birch.
Baltic birch, Finland birch.
They were so
300 pounds.
fucking heavy.
300 pounds.
300 a piece.
Yeah.
Yep. We used to stack them.
And the sub was a 24-inch
I can never see.
sub-bass speaker.
Yep.
24 inches.
It take two guys
Push it
to
away,
take it
Joe.
out, to remove the speaker and put it in.
So
Yeah.
very few bands back then owned their own sound systems, and Iron Maiden owned their own North American rig. And
Yep.
when they went back to Europe, they played through Britannia Row systems, and the North American rig went to Eighth Day Sound in Cleveland to get worked on, all during Peace of Mind and Power Slave and through their biggest of years. So when I was 16 years old, I had an older friend of mine walk me into the Eighth Day shop where there were several hundred of these TMS 3s. And that's kind of when it all clicked on how it was all big companies that, now a lot of, there's a lot of country music acts that own their own sound systems, but Iron Maiden, they owned their own big arena rig before almost any bands had their own PAs.
And it's funny, Keith, is that that Iron Maiden